guys, we are in the lab. I'm here with Mike Joseph, the man himself. I'm not going to give you too much of an introduction because I want you to do that yourself. But welcome to In the Lab podcast. Mike, I'll leave it to you to introduce the folks.
Thank you very much for having me. Delighted to be here. Very, very much. I'm impressed with what you've done, Kenny. So when you asked me to come along, I was like, yes, I want to be a part of that. So my name is Mike, raised in Cayman from young, and I'm in the real estate industry. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've got a fantastic team, spent a lot of time putting that together, and I'm trying to find the classic, just like everybody, right? Trying to find the perfect balance in life between work and fun and pleasure and still building success into the future.
And Mike, I want to jump into another point that I'm not sure if a lot of people do know, but you were a former Olympian.
This is true.
All right, former Olympian here.
A lot of people look at me, they're like, you were... Okay, so it's 26 years ago, 1996, Atlanta, Georgia. It was in yachting, sailing was the discipline. Now, everybody knows that they don't have much water around Atlanta, Georgia, so it was held in Savannah, Georgia. And very long story short, but I was sitting on the couch in Florida in college, and my brother calls me up and said, hey, Mike, you want to go to the Olympics? I said, yeah, Nick, that's in 4 years' time. We'll worry about that closer to the time. We'll get tickets closer to the time. And he said, no, not to go and watch, to represent. I'm like, and I hope this is okay, but I put out whatever it was I was smoking, and I was like, what? No, come on, don't be ridiculous. And I think it's important to say that part of the story, because I literally went from being just some dumb college kid, not really thinking about future or doing anything particular, to training 5 days a week, driving out of Miami every evening after college, and training for a few hours in the evening, and driving back in rush hour traffic. And we qualified to represent Cayman in the Olympics. It was a guy called Alan Davies and I, in the catamaran tornado sailing. And we had to go to different regattas in different places, and we qualified, and it was fantastic. We were the only non-professional team. No. Everybody else had been living, I suppose, by the time we got to the Olympics, everyone else, all the other teams were living in Savannah, Georgia for a minimum of 6 months, if not a year before the games. So they were getting used to the whole, the tides and the winds and the currents and everything as it relates to sailing. And we turned up 2 weeks before. And our coach, that's a Cayman thing. You know what? Our coach was the number 2 guy for the United States. He didn't qualify. He came in second. So we called him up and said, hey, Robbie, come and see if you can coach us, help us not embarrass ourselves. And the goal was actually to get the experience to represent Cayman in Sydney. And that never happened for other reasons. I actually got super sick on some business trip to Guatemala, and I had to pull out. But we did really, really well. Nice. It's a course of 11 races. And each race is upwind, downwind, upwind, downwind. You can't just go upwind. You have to go, you zigzag your way in sailing. It's quite annoying. It's really inefficient. You want to go there, but you gotta go like this to get there. We came 19 out of 21 countries. And it was an incredible experience. It was an experience that I carry with me today in many respects, particularly in my business life. It just basically goes to show, if you commit to something, devotion, dedication, and you focus on something, it'll happen. If you want to go to the moon, you want to be an astronaut, you can do it. It's not impossible. It'll be difficult. It'll take time. It'll cost. But it's entirely possible if you just focus. Boom, 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 boom. And you shut out all the distractions and squirrels and shiny objects and things that distract us. That whirlwind in life will ruin us.
And you have that singularity of focus on whatever it is that you want to do. I like to say hard work, dedication, or commitment, consistency, and focus, and that will get you there. And it sounds like you're saying you called up your coach. You said, this is what I want to do. You guys said, you put out the joint, and you said that.
I didn't say it was a joint. It said whatever it was I was smoking, and I was holding it like that. So I can understand
whatever it was. Whatever it was. You said, cool, this is what I want to do. And you dialed in, you committed to it, you put in the focus, you put in the dedication, you put in the hard work, and you ended up there and you did your thing there.
What an experience.
And I want to ask, explain to me what the process was, going from doing nothing to, having to dial in at this high new level right, to operate amongst all of those other elites?
It's a good question because what that essentially is transition. Changing from one approach to something, or whatever your lifestyle is, or whatever you're doing, and doing something either entirely different or just different. And again, I'll refer back to how that has impacted what I have experienced in my business and personal life. How it's okay. Change is very difficult at times.
Yeah.
But if you don't change, then you're just going to wither away and die. Change is going to feed the potential for more success or growth.
Yeah.
And yes, it can be painful, that change. I mean, I was with Remax, great company, 16 years. I was the top producer with Kim and James, the three of us. Out of 125,000 agents in the Remax network, we were consistently in the top 10 in the world.
There you go.
Why would I ever leave that?
Yeah.
And I did, because it became too stagnant. It became too monotonous. It became too repetitive. So that transition to challenge myself,
correct,
and shake it up a little bit meant that I was forcing myself to have to grow, learn new stuff, and realize new potential.
See, one thing I always say is comfort is a slow death.
Comfort, dangerous, bad.
Yeah. We constantly have to be growing. We constantly have to be challenging ourselves.
It's the lazy zone.
Yeah, exactly. You're stuck in that comfort zone and you start to relax, you get complacent, you get satisfied. Oh, I'm okay. But when you start to challenge yourself, as you said, shake things up. And now you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And stepping out of your comfort zone, what does that allow? That allows growth, right? That challenge allows growth. You level up as a human.
And you realize a whole new level of potential that you didn't even... As humans, I think we just generally, and you would have read it in some of these books, right? Because it repeats itself, that we probably only ever tap into 10% of our potential.
So we got so much more to give.
And the coaching I give to my team members is, guys, you have no idea what else there is there for you. And just work smarter and not harder, and focus. And do the right things, and you can realize a whole new level of...
And that's super interesting, right? Because as you say, hey guys, there's so much more out there. And yes, us as humans, we tend to have we put this glass ceiling on ourselves and we think it's right here. We think it's right. That's because we put it right there, right? And then, but when we, when we challenge ourselves and do more, we push that glass ceiling so much higher. And you think, man, what I was doing a year ago was nothing to compare what I'm doing right now. Imagine once I continue to challenge myself,
and it just fuels more.
Exactly. And you do more and you do more. As long as you continue to push that glass ceiling, continue to challenge yourself, continue to shake things up, continue to step out of your comfort zone, you can continue to push that glass ceiling. You're in a whole new space, whole new dimension.
And it's fun, man. It's exciting because it challenges you, but it brings in new aspects of your personality, your character. And you learn so much about everything, so much more, and you reach new levels as well. It's great. It's great. So that's an experience. The Olympics was something very, very special. I was very fortunate to be right place, right time. I'm very grateful to my brother and his support and family support and stuff to make that happen. But yeah, I mean, I was the one that put in... listen, my shoulder today hurts because of the wear and tear of the years of just like pulling those... Sailing's tough. Well, all sports are tough. It depends what you put into it, of course. But at that level, it feeds me today in pretty much everything I do.
Yeah, which is what I was going to ask. How did that transition, knowing that, okay, this is the level I got to operate at, this is the hard work I got to put in, that transition over into your work life, into your new business, Property Cayman, because you're completely crushing it with that. You're doing amazing. I'm seeing it everywhere. You're doing amazing things. It's even a goal of mine to get a property with you. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm waiting. I can't get it. Right.
That's the plan. That is the plan.
I think the way it's helped me is to realize that, like I said, nothing's impossible. And you've got to challenge yourself. Change is, while it's uncomfortable, you got to stop that comfort zone, that lazy zone, that easy zone, and embrace the opportunity and the stress that comes with change, because it's just going to catapult you forward into all sorts of new opportunities and potential and success. So yeah, like I said, I was with Remax for 16 years and everything was going great. Why would I even dream of leaving such a great gig? Frankly, it came down to I wanted the challenge. I needed the challenge. And the Olympic experience was something that started coming back to me more and more. I'm like, well, wait a second. If I've been, by all accounts, relatively successful, and I just feel like I can't get any better.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be under Kim and James, who are incredible agents and successful businessmen. But where can I
get your own? Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, all right, well, let's level up. Let's leave the comfort zone, challenge myself, and grow. And then all sorts of like nice sound bites I'll share with you. You know, Richard Branson said, train your team so they could compete successfully against you.
Yeah, yeah.
But treat them so they would never dream of leaving.
Yeah.
So the focus wasn't growing a big team. It was creating a foundation where training and coaching and mentoring and sharing experiences to fuel my team members so they could reach a whole new potential, treat them with respect and acknowledge them and recognize them so that, you know, they would never dream of leaving you. So they would be the best, but they would never dream of leaving you because you're the guy that is with them through the thick and thin.
And, you know, that brings me back to a point within my business. I have the same concept. I believe in, hey, guys, you need to be just as good, if not better than me. Right. So my job is to pour into them, pour in as much as I can into them. Right. So I'm giving as much value as I possibly can.
Same. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And what they do, they get better, they grow, and they know where, okay, cool, I'm getting value here and I'm growing so much, and we're going to continue to grow together and just continue to level up. So yeah, it's all about that leadership also is what I break that back down to. You know, being a good leader, you're able to lead from the front, lead from the middle, lead from the back, grow your team together. And I like to say, not just one high performer, but a team of high performers is always better than one.
Yeah, team.
Yeah,
team. It's always about team. And yeah, listen, my latest challenge is after 20 years of selling real estate, I'm now transitioning to be a coach at the game rather than a player in it. Which is what you were saying earlier, how you sort of felt, you know what, I want to be able to feed my team so they can become successful when they go out into the world of boxing, for example, or fitness competitions. And the fulfillment that I'm getting from seeing them reach new levels is great.
It's rewarding.
It's great.
Yeah. I say leadership is simple but not easy, right? It's a very tough job, but it is such a rewarding job, right? Again, when you get to invest and pour into someone and pour into your team and you just see them go out and do amazing things, like, oh, you're crushing it. You know, I feel good. I feel great. You know, leadership is such a rewarding thing. Simple, but not easy, but super rewarding. One of the greatest things.
You know, what I've noticed is my challenge is one of the main challenges, I suppose, of the last year or two since setting up Property Cayman by ourselves is patience. When you're a one-man band, you're in that little tin boat, you can just dart around, you know, you push it, change direction quite quickly and everything. But when you've got a big team of people, you're now a slow, big, lumpy ship, and it takes time to turn the corners and everything. So for me, it's been quite difficult adapting to quick change. So now it's all about investing and waiting for that return on investment to come back. Giving time and structure and systems and procedures and the right people in the bus, the right seats on the right bus, you know, and making sure that by the time you get around to that project actually being launched, you're going to nail it. But you can't just suddenly say, I'm going to do this now. So we just launched property management. We've been doing it for years, but I didn't want to do a proper formal launch until we had everything in place. It took us 8 months to get everything lined up so that when we go to the marketplace, we've got everything nailed. We know exactly what to do, the systems, the scripts on how to discuss and how to pitch our offering and how we differentiate ourselves.
And that's such a good point, you know, as you said earlier, you know, creating those systems, having everything in place. You know, you guys all know, whether it's yourself, whether it's one of the team members that need to go into the project or whatever it is, you guys all have the same system. You have the structure, you know how to operate, you have the scripts, you have everything. And that's such a good thing. I take something like that into my business also, right? But I like to judge that back to the Cuban boxing team.
Right.
Every single person on that team is some form of champion. It can be world champion or Olympic champion, but every single person on that team goes through the same exact system. They have a winning system, right? And they end up world champion, Olympic champion, some form of champion. But for me, it all boils back to that system, right? And making sure that everybody...
You got to have a structure. Everyone says, oh, you got to have goals. And then they say, oh, you got to write them down, otherwise they won't come true. But if you don't allocate your time and your weekly, daily behaviors and activities to complement whatever those goals are. They may happen.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that framework, then you're just going to get distracted by shiny objects, and that whirlwind is going to kick in, and you'll just end up spinning wheels. By the end of the year, you're not going to achieve that goal that you say you want. So, you know, there's this, I can't remember his name. I want to say Scott Smith or somebody like that. He's like a 6 or 7 time Ironman champion. And the story is that he washes his cottage cheese. So the guy has a high carb diet, low fat diet. He does a mini Ironman every single day of the week. And he eats exactly the same thing every single day at the same times, the same hours. He has a strict routine. That guy is laser focused, right? Yeah. He's just late. That's the only thing that matters to him. And we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Dedication, focus, devotion, nothing else matters. If you just focus on that one thing, that's what this guy's done. Now, the reality is that he probably has a terrible personal life, may not have saved any money, he's still renting, doesn't have friends or a lifestyle or social skills, because all he ever does is that one thing.
Yeah.
Now, the cottage cheese, washing your cottage cheese concept is that one thing, so to get any extra fat off of his cottage cheese, which was already low fat.
The story behind it, yeah.
It's already low fat. But if he washes it, then it's even more low fat. Mm-hmm. That one thing alone doesn't make him the Ironman champion. But it's a list of all these different things that he does to the nth degree helps him become a top performing athlete and a repeat champion.
And you know what that is? That's paying tremendous attention to detail.
Focus, laser focus. Yeah. So what I tell my team is like, guys, I don't expect you to necessarily wash your cottage cheese, right? and have such a tight framework. But if you got to have some framework around you, so you got room to live and have work-life balance, and you can sort of, you know, but at least you've got a framework from within which you can't go too far off track. You're still going to continue forward movement. Then you're going to realize your goals.
Yeah.
If you don't have any parameters and no structure or goals, then
you're just going all over the place.
Honestly, and that's exactly what happens. So, and I'm taking a lot of pride in that sort of that level of guidance and coaching I'm giving my team members. It's helping. I already see, and it's simple. You come up with your goals with discussion and guidance and debate on what it is you want to achieve, and then you populate your calendar. 80% of your time needs to be dedicated to whatever your goals are. And it could be, I want to buy a brand new car at the end of the year. I want to, you know, get married. I want to have children. Whatever. I want to make $1 million. I want to, whatever it may be. The things, those behaviors and activities that complement that goal coming to fruition needs to populate your calendar and your daily activities.
So otherwise, 80%.
80% of your time. And that may include, I want to be better work-life balance. I want to be healthier. I want to have more downtime. I want to go paddleboarding every single Friday. Yeah. Make sure it's in your calendar to go paddleboarding every single Friday.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll never happen. It'll always be something else going, no, I got a client in town. I'm like, sorry, Mr. Client, I'm actually not available at Friday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
I already have another appointment. Even if that means you are sacrificing potential business. Guess what? The client will always say, oh gosh, okay, how about Thursday evening, Saturday morning? Absolutely, I'm free and available then.
Yeah, that's a super interesting point, you know, having everything structured out so you're not drifting all over the place. Like I like to consider there's drifters and there's non-drifters. Yeah. You know, non-drifters, you have that singularity of focus. You know exactly where you're going. You know what you're going after. You know the direction everything needs to go in, compared to the drifter. It's here, there, and everywhere.
And that framework, you can make it as tight as you want to, because you still got to have room for life to happen. You know, you get sick, or you know what, I am going to go on a boys' trip to Miami, and you know, you got to be able to breathe.
There's that bumper time.
Otherwise, if you're too laser focused, something's going to snap.
Yeah.
Whether it's your body physically or your mental health or something, right? And that's why I say, you know, 80% of your time, not 100%.
So you still got that 20 to play around with, have that little bit of slack, be able to refresh the mind, recover, and then boom, get back to the grind.
You can throttle up, you can bring in that framework and be a little bit more focused because you're going away next week on holiday. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to focus extra. I'm going to do 100% of my time this week is going to be focused on these things so that when I go away for a week, I can breathe.
Yeah, and you then enjoy the time.
Probably relax and recharge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, enjoy the time.
Enjoy your time. Otherwise, you will burn out.
Yeah, and that brings me to a point. I remember my mentor telling me, "Hey, Ken, you dial in. You work super hard. You go after it. But yes, what you need to do, you need to make sure that you recover and you refresh the mind.
Oh man, you can't keep 100 miles an hour all the time, physically or mentally.
Yeah, and for me, he's like the David Goggins that I know, right? My mentor. He just bringing the fire every second of every minute. So I take a lot of that from him, but that's one thing he slowed me down with and said, realize that you got to refresh, you got to recover, right? Exactly, you said it. Something will snap. So,
and the other thing I recognize is that I don't know everything. I don't even claim to remotely know everything. But, you know, I see the books you're reading. I saw you, 6 months ago. How you doing, Kenny? Like, reading, man, learning.
Yeah.
Like, good for you. That's amazing. That inspires me. I'm like, man, I need to step my game because, you know, Kenny's reading and I'm claiming to be a leader and a mentor and a coach for my team. That I need to step up my game to make sure that I'm able to add value.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the great things is I love that you're down here. We're able to get on this, right? Because what that does, iron sharpens iron. Right, automatically that puts me in a place also. Like,
it's inspiring, man. I'm even sitting up. I'm ready to go. I'm like, God, it's giving me a good idea for my podcast. You know, there's just general win-wins that come from like-minded people collaborating and sharing ideas, and
1000%.
And it's not rocket science, man. This is basic stuff. This is, in my opinion, this is basic stuff, and it's just a matter of us actually embracing the opportunities.
Yeah. That
are right there in front of us, and I just can't stand lazy. I can't bear the thought of being. If you're not moving, you're dying. You're just gonna wither and you're gonna
1000%.
Grow or die, right? You've heard it 1,000 times, I'm sure.
Comfort is a slow death, right? As you say, you got to grab life by the horns and just run forward. Just run forward, you know, bring the fire every second of every minute, drive it forward.
Fitness is a beautiful analogy in the world of sales that I live in. It's about investing into your future self. You want to wake up when you're 80 years old with a strong muscular structure that's going to protect you when you fall over, and you don't want to break that hip. Yeah. And if you're in a strong place, then you're going to be able to run with your grandkids and throw them in the air and be an active grandparent. That's only going to happen if you invest in your younger years. Give that analogy. I love using that analogy, is that pipelining business and relationships. Yeah. Something may not come from it right now. You know, my goal when it comes to fitness is to be able to run with my grandchildren. And if I get a six-pack in the meantime, great.
Even better.
But it's not my reason for exercising. You know, I got bad shoulder and a boating accident on my hip. Man, oh man, it hurts. But I maintain it by strengthening.
So you're looking out for your future.
Forward.
Looking out for you. You got those Olympic injuries, but now you're taking care of yourself, thinking about the future, thinking about what's to come, want to make sure that you are ready to play with the grandkids, outrun the grandkids if you can.
My team laugh at me. I call it, I'm in a constant state of preparation. That's what I call it. I'm always organized, and if you're not early, you're late. You know, I'm hurricane season, I'm already prepared. Before I travel, I'm packed days before. Yeah. I'm always at the airport hours before I need to be, just in case, right? I'm always prepared. My team calls that constant state of preparation. They call it constant state of panic. So they're not necessarily wrong.
Yeah.
And sure, I may be living on, from their perspective, on a little bit of an edge. Like I'm constantly trying to make sure that I don't run out of toilet paper or, you know.
Yeah.
But what that does mean is that when I do want to have downtime or go traveling or stretch out and relax and take the afternoon off and go paddleboarding or whatever it may be, but I've got room to do that. I can afford to do that because I've got a stockpile of pipeline, of whether it's supplies at home or if it's clients in the pipeline, or
you're ahead of the game.
I'm always thinking ahead of the game, and you know, our local developer Dart he doesn't have a watch. He doesn't think in minutes and hours and days.
Interesting.
Or even months. He thinks years.
Yeah.
So if you start thinking about securing tomorrow today, making decisions that's going to help you in the future. You make decisions based on, okay, I need to do this by a certain date, and if I got my head down here and I'm just doing this, it's never going to happen. But if you make decisions today, they're going to make this goal possible in the future. You're building that foundation. You're protecting your skeletal structure with muscle to protect you in the future, or whatever it may be. Then you can use, because when you wake up in 3, 5, 7 years time, it could be anything. You could, okay, well, I'm going to save up because I want to buy $1 million house. Then I'm going to save up until I've got the deposit. And my goal is 5 years. So I reverse engineer that 5 years. How much do I have to save every single week, month, day, hour to make sure that by the time I get in 5 years' time, I've got it? And all of a sudden, you wake up in 5 years' time.
And it's there.
And you've got your deposit.
Yeah.
Because you've sacrificed nonsense and you've focused and made it happen. It's actually very easy.
Yeah.
And then your friends look at you and they say, man, look at you. How did you get $1 million house? Well, I worked hard. and I made a plan, and I saved up over time.
So you had a vision right there, and you executed on a daily basis, 24 hours at a time for that vision.
Daily, weekly, monthly behaviors and activities that complement that goal. So what can I do to help me make, pass the time, to help me save that money, so that when I get to that destination, that particular goal is 5 years, that I've done what I can to help make that goal happen.
Now, you spoke about habits. You spoke with daily habits. Now, I'm a huge person. I'm big on habits. I'm big on routines. I'm big on non-negotiables. So, Mike, on your end, I want to ask you, is there any non-negotiables in your life that you have that allow you to be this high performer, allow you to be so organized, so structured, that allow you to perform at the level that you do? Because I find you as a high performer, you are rock and rolling, you're running through walls. So is there any non-negotiables in your life, daily disciplines that you have that we can take further, that you may have mentioned that you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, it can answer that question. It's a great question, and it helps me reflect and remind. And that's why this benefits, right? Because it's a reminder of what matters.
Yeah.
Priorities. You need to know what your core priorities are. And I've just been going through this recently, refreshing and understanding what my real priorities are. And the number one is health. And it's moving. You got to move, otherwise you're just going to seize up.
True that.
And if you seize up, then you're not going to be able to do other stuff. But it's fact that fitness gives you the coping skills to handle difficult situations. It'll give you the confidence in your step, right? It'll give you the ability to protect others, your loved ones, family, friends, clients. And you feel better, and you sleep better.
Yeah.
And you drink more water, which is really good for you. And then you eat better. Because if your priority is truly health, then everything else after that kind of falls into place.
Yeah.
So non-negotiable is health. And I suppose another non-negotiable would be family. Strict, close second is family. Number one, you got to look after number one first.
100%.
If you don't look after number one, then you're useless to everyone. So family and connecting loved ones and making sure that I have the luxury of having mum, dad, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, nieces. Everybody's here in Cayman, and a lot of people don't necessarily have family so close. So I don't want to take that for granted. And so one of my priorities, non-negotiable, is to make sure that I connect regularly with loved ones. And it doesn't necessarily have to be family. It could be close friends and people that are important to you.
Yeah.
And punctuality is huge for me.
I'm big on that too.
Man, if you're not early, you're late.
I find being late, I think, is a disrespectful.
Oh, it's terrible.
I think it's disrespectful. I hate being late. Oh my God, I hate it.
So you know where I say you got to populate your calendar with behaviors and be organized and constant state of preparation, right? I will always have a 15-minute drive time or transport time or catch my breath time before and after each meeting, so that I'm never in a rush. If I say to a client, yes, I'm available at 11 o'clock, that's great. And most meetings, particularly in my world, showings, you're driving somewhere, you're walking around the house, it's an hour.
Yeah.
Either I leave him at 11:45, or I'm 15 minutes for the next guy. And that means I'm stressing in the car, and I'm calling, and I'm making excuses, and I'm turning up late, and I'm flustered, and I'm ill-prepared. So I will always say to a client, I can meet you at 11 o'clock, but I'm afraid I've only got 45 minutes.
Yeah.
My next appointment's at 12, and you're like, oh, you got time, it's fine. No, I'm sorry, that's strict. That's 11:45.
Yeah.
Or we can do Tuesday at 11, and I can meet you at 12, stay for you until 12 o'clock. And then the next guy after that, sorry, I'm not available until 12:15.
Yeah.
Can't be there till 12:15. Non-negotiable, because it reflects badly on me, and I'm either shortchanging one client or running late for the next, and that's bad, and that's bad.
And as we spoke offline, you're into the business of great customer service, right? So when you're showing up late, you're setting a bad presence for yourself.
You want them to feel like they're your only client, and you're 100% focused, not flustered, running late, ill-prepared. Again, being prepared in advance is huge. I hate public speaking. This is different because there isn't thousands of people sitting down in front of me judging me right now. You can do it. You can do it from your camera.
Keep that in the future because that's a plan that I have.
Oh gosh.
We'll go up on stage here and we'll have
in front of people.
crowd. Yeah.
So my point being is that the reality is that if something scares you, then you just got to prepare for it.
Yeah.
There's no need to be scared or worried about something. If you're prepared, then you can have the confidence. You can have the control, and you speak from a place of knowledge and experience, and And that's why they're listening to you in the first place. Well, hopefully, but yeah, being prepared is huge. I will always be prepared.
And proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
What he said. Yeah. What he said. For real, man. Honestly, you just got to be prepared. And that is where you get the competitive edge as a athlete performing, or an experienced businessman, or real estate agent in my world. It gives you the competitive edge, because I guarantee 99% of your competitors are not putting in that same effort of preparation.
Gaining knowledge. You can walk into whatever scenario it is with confidence, because you know you've prepared properly. Right? Again, whether that's in the ring, whether that's in the show, whether, you know, that's in a meeting, you prepared properly. You've done your research, you've done your knowledge, you've done your studying, you've done your preparation in whatever form that is. So you walk in at a much more confident level and ready level. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. And that applies to any aspect, any area in life.
Right. Really interesting. We haven't actually got to it yet, but one of the coaching sessions that I'm going to be doing with my team is digging deep into the usual objections that clients and customers, buyers and sellers may have in our field. And if you already know the answer to their inevitable obstacle that they're throwing at you, or the challenge they're saying, yeah, but you guys charge too much commission. Well, if you already know how to handle that objection, in a true, fair, and logical sense, then you're already prepared.
Yeah.
You're prepared, and your performance is going to be off the charts, because they're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Thank you.
Exactly.
But if you go in ill-prepared and like, well, yeah, but I'm really good at what I do, you know, you just come across as an amateur. And so that's part of our script and our role-playing that we actually go through. And there are thousands of different obstacles.
For sure. 1,000%. You know, we get the same thing here in the fitness industry. You know, you got to be able to overcome those obstacles, you know, because there's always reasons why you may not be able to do, people may not be able to do something. But when you can break it down properly and say, okay, cool, you know, this is how we overcome that obstacle, and you show them that this is the way it can be done, then like, oh, click. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's rock and roll forwards. Then you overcame the obstacle of whatever problem needed to be solved. Now you can step forward.
Patience, focus. And listen, enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Like you said earlier, the leadership it's not easy.
Yeah. Not easy. You know, you were speaking about something earlier in regards to proper preparation, everything too, right? And another part with that is when you're properly prepared, and you spoke about fears and everything too. One thing that you can do with that is, I like to say, is attack the hill. Once you are properly prepared, you've done everything that you need to do, whatever that fear is or whatever the obstacle is or whatever you have to go into, I like to call it attack the hill. Run right directly towards it, whatever it is that you have to do. But that all starts from, proper preparation.
Like the confidence to actually drive forward instead of
run to that. Yeah.
If you're going to do it, right?
Attacking the hill is such a major thing. It's such a major thing.
Absolutely.
And in every aspect, because again, it boils back to the opportunities that we get to grow, right? If we decided, hey, you know what, I want to be comfortable, I want to be static, I want to stay right here, then you know what, we're never going to grow. But again, the things that make us scared, the things that give us fear, the things that we're not comfortable with, those are the things that we have to attack the hill at.
And doing so humbly, right? I like the approach of being that humble champion. You know, you see your amazing football star score that winning goal, and he's not the one necessarily going, I'm the man. You know, he's just sort of there. And he's pleased to bits, right? But being that humble champion, I love that approach.
I've met some guys in my lifetime. So I'll talk about it was Ray Cashcare, actually a mentor of mine, you know, celebrated former Navy SEAL. Probably one of the most humblest guys I ever met in my life.
I followed you when you did that, man. I thought it was incredible. Yeah. Talk about leaving your comfort zone.
Oh,
right?
Man. Yeah, definitely.
That looked like an incredible experience.
Yeah, 75 hours just dialing in, you know, physically, mentally. The part that they don't tell you about is emotionally. You know, the body will go from physical, then it has to go to mental, right? When after mental, it'll go to emotional. Then you go to like a spiritual, right? So the part that they don't mention, this project I'm talking about, MDK project, I am the honor man for class 009.
Look at that. You guys need to look that up. If you haven't seen what he's done, it's just wow.
So just give a quick bit of knowledge on what that is. So, you know, going into that from, I think, hour 4, I was at my physical peak. From hour 4, I had 71 hours left. Now, I had a choice. I could ring out if I wanted. But when you ring the bell and quit, you are quitting on your goals, you're quitting on life, you're quitting on why you're there, you're quitting on your family, you're quitting on everything, you're all the other things that you're there for, your values, right? So for me, quitting was not an option. I was willing to die there. I was willing to die in order.
You have to give it your all, right?
1000%, right? You gotta, when you enter something that you want to go into, you want to be great at, you want to operate to dominate at, you got to go in with the willingness to give 1000%, not 100%, but 1000%. And that's what I went in with. I said, I want to live to my full potential. This is what I'm here for. So I gave everything, every single thing, right from that first hour to that last hour. And that's the constant shift that you have to do in life, whether it's in your fitness, whether it's with your family, whether it's in your finances, whether it's in your faith in yourself, or faith religiously, whatever it is.
Look where it's carried you.
1000%.
It fuels you, right?
100%. Yeah.
It's very inspirational.
It does. So now, I mean, we spoke about, non-negotiables and stuff and values and stuff earlier. So for me, again, that's what it boils back to. Working on those pillars: family, fitness, finance, faith. Because I say a house can't hold up on one stature, right? You got to have all four. Put one in each corner.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, that's what those are: family, fitness, finance, and faith, and just constantly dialing in on those. But to pull back now about the project.
Yeah. Tell me.
So as I said earlier, right, the part that they didn't tell me was the emotional side of it. They don't mention that part.
Big strong man. Let's see what he's about to say.
Because when you got a bunch of tough guys, right?
Big seals. Big man. All right.
Exactly. They tell you about the physical. You're like, yeah. I want to drive forward in this. They tell you about the mental, like, yeah, I'm ready to strive for this, right? If you would have told me that at the time, there was only 15 guys left. If you'd have told me that all 15 of us men would have been crying in that room, I would not have believed it. You couldn't pay me $1 million to believe that I would have been crying in a room amongst 15 other men. That is the emotional side of it.
What hour was that of the 75?
That is hour 36, if I remember.
So you're
correctly.
about halfway through, and you're really
you are completely crushed at that point. You are completely crushed there. You are like physically beat down, mentally beat down.
Man,
you are
watching what you were going through. Man, it just looked terrible. But I can relate. No, I can't relate. I can understand that concept of pushing yourself to a whole new level you didn't realize you had in you. And that's the point of it, right? You just overcome this incredible obstacle. So wasn't the concept is that you actually bury yourself, or you bury that old self?
Yeah, so that was
dead. That old.
When you do that, it's probably about hour 65 that we actually, we are buried. We're under the dirt. We're in a body bag under the dirt for amount of time. In just in case anybody watches the podcast, I can't say too much. Of that may go into the project. I can't say too much of how long. But yeah, you were
zipped up.
You were zipped up,
buried,
dirt on you. You can feel it on your chest here and there. You have to try to operate under that chaos, right? Because that's on your chest. You can barely breathe. You're under the dirt. You're trying to get in. It is scary. It's like 2, 3 in the morning. You got to learn how to breathe.
After 40 hours of craziness.
After, way out there. Yeah, way out there. I won't say the exact numbers because somebody might go into the project here. When you come out of there now, right? And that's a pass or fail. You either got to stay in there, relax for the amount of time that you got to be in there, or you can scream, you can say, I quit. We pull you out, you go ring the bell, boom, you go home. But when you come out, for me, when I got out, my current mentor, Bedros Koulian said to me, Ebanks, what was your download? And I said, for me, that was like burying my old self and being born again. Because what it's all about is, we like to call it the dash. What happens when you start your life here? These are the numbers that you were born with. Now, you're not dead yet, so there's no numbers on the inside, but there's a dash. What are you going to produce in life? What impact, what influence are you going to create during this dash in life? What are you going to leave behind? So it's all about creating impact, creating influence, and doing that during this dash. Give the most that you can give to the world before these numbers here. Because what are you going to leave behind? Just going to leave behind an average life? Or are you going to leave behind something great? Great name for yourself, great name for your family, great name for your kids, great name for your grandkids, great examples, great service.
Positive.
Yeah, great service that you gave to the world, as you said it.
And listen, none of this stuff's easy, right? I mean, this is really hard work, and it takes a lot of time to accomplish these things. But if you aren't making the effort to better yourself and grow, then you know, you can't expect to get it for free or to suddenly achieve something great.
Yeah, nobody's going to hand it to you. You have to go out.
You have to work for it
and actively pursue these things. You have to go out and you have to say, hey, this is what I want. I have my vision. I'm going to go after. These are the values that I'm going to live by in order to accomplish this vision. These are the values I'm going to grow into also. I'm going to produce victories every single day because that's going to lead me to my victory. Whatever vices I may have in life, I'm going to be the master and I'm going to control them because they're going to take me away from this vision. So every single day that I operate to dominate towards that vision. There's no drifting, right? I'm non-drifter. And that's the way you got to operate in life, as a non-drifting man, woman, human being, whatever.
You know, when you were saying about being buried and everything, and you got to actually kind of imagine, focus, and stay calm. I was scuba diving. Gosh, I was super young, 15 years old in Little Cayman, and I thought it was a shark that slapped my face and hit the mask off at like 75 feet underwater in a cave. But it wasn't. It was the guy in front of me, his fin. Just not right. But the story I tell the girls is that it was a shark that slapped me in the face and it was really dangerous.
Yeah,
but I remember in that particular moment that I'd done the training. That's how I got certified as just a standard sports diver. I remember thinking, okay, look for the mask, put it on, do the whole blow bubbles to get the water out, and just be calm. And so listening to you telling the story about being buried and stuff, it reminded me of that story, and also freediving. I love freediving. I think freediving is incredible. It's an incredible sport that takes hardcore mental focus and determination, right? The first time I was freediving, amateur with my brother, I could probably go down to 25, 30 feet, touch the bottom and come back up, go, I will never, ever do that again. Yeah. And like, pretty dangerous stuff. After doing a freediving course, and I've done 3 or 4 over the years, at the end of the first day, I was going down to 50 feet and sitting at the bottom for a minute, totally calm and focused, listening to the swash of the sand, little crabs scratching and chomping parrotfish on coral or whatever it may be. Just because with scuba diving, you got lots of noise, but freediving, you're like one with Mother Earth. It's just super peaceful and quiet. And I just bring it up because when you, I've got, my personal record is 142 feet, I think, right?
Wow.
And that's not much in the world of freediving, by the way. Well, it's not bad, but
this is still a good number.
It's that preparation concept.
Yeah.
Training, you got to be physically healthy and fit, but it's this sort of preparation of the breathing preparation. You got to breathe through your stomach, and it's as much about getting as much of the carbon dioxide out of your body as it is getting in the oxygen. And you splash water on your face because it slows down your heart rate. You've got to be really kind of a little bit just super relaxed and focused. And then when you're going down, you've got to know your limits. To quote Tanya Streeter, who I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Incredible. She's a friend we grew up with here. Incredible world champion freediver. And her thing was about knowing your limits. So when you're going down, you've got to know, okay, well, yeah, sure, I can go down to 175 feet. But do you have enough air to get back up to the surface, right? So you got to, and that focus is really quite serious stuff.
Yeah.
And I relate this, okay, well, I need to focus in and not be distracted. This is the most important thing. I've got to keep my heart rate down, chill, relax, and then when you're coming up, you don't kick as hard as you can to get to the surface quickly as possible, because even that is burning oxygen in your body. So you've still got to stay calm. You could be desperate for that breath.
Yeah. And
then every time you come up, when I come up, and you have that first breath of, it's so invigorating. It's incredible. It's like, yes, it's refreshing. It's energizing. And anyway, I just thought I'd share that lovely story with you.
Yeah, hey, it was a good
freediving, man. Freediving is awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
very meditative and.
But you can compare that things like in life, right? You spoke about the scuba and so much noise, but when you're freediving, it's silence, right? And that's what you have to create in life. There's going to be a ton of noise around,
equipment and stuff,
everything just happening around you. But being able to stay calm, cool, collective, and relax, and get that dive happening, and
under your own power, you're on you won.
Yeah, and you're not being flustered. You're being calm, and you're going after the goal, how much ever feet that is, then you also got to exit also. So it's not like, cool, I just got to the goal and forget it. It's all done now. No, I got to actually return also. So, you know, that I take that point as never peaking because the best is yet to come. So cool. I got to the goal. Now I go and do more. I got to make my way back up.
Yeah.
Right? Or however you want to turn out.
You ever watch any of those freediving guys? Man, they're incredible.
I've watched like here and there just on YouTube.
Yeah, they flash up on my thing.
I watch here and on YouTube, but
those guys are incredible.
But yeah, some crazy stuff I see on there, you know, like some crazy dives.
I did a freediving course 5-7 years ago, and the world champion female freediver in one of the disciplines, and I can't remember which it was, because you know you can go down with fins, without fins, go down on a sled, you can go down pulling a rope and pulling back a rope, you can come back up with an airbag. There are different disciplines, but I can't remember this discipline, but the world champion female for that year or the previous year was a Brazilian lady, and you would never have thought that that person was remotely an athlete.
Yeah.
Right. Physically, and I'm being straight up with you here. How we judge people, right?
Yeah.
You know you should never judge, and maybe that's the point here. But it goes to show that anybody can do anything if you put your mind to it and focus and understand and prepare and
block the noise out
and block the noise out and just focus and do it and train for it. And she was the world champion in one of the freediving disciplines.
Yeah, and I know now we're getting into freediving because now you got me like super interested about it, right? So, which one of the disciplines is the hardest one?
No fins. You go down under your own power.
Yeah.
And you come up under your own power.
Yeah, I could see that one actually because
it's tough.
Yeah.
And you know, guys, the world record for no fins is hundreds of feet. I mean, these people are incredible. I saw Tanya Streeter do one of her world records was in Cayman opposite Sunset House, and she was underwater for like 4.5 minutes or something. I mean,
crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
That was in the 2000s, right?
Early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing something like that in the newspapers. Yeah.
Yeah, we were out there watching her, honestly, and you're just sitting there, and it's really scary stuff.
I can imagine.
And she comes up holding the card that she just reached 500 feet or whatever it was. I think that one was with fins.
Yeah.
And whatever weight you take down there, you got to bring back up.
Yeah.
So you could put a 50-pound weight on your weight to help you get down, but
you got to take it back up.
And they check to make sure you're still wearing it, right?
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous sport. That's why focus is adamant. Don't try this at home. And breathing is really, really good for you. Mm-hmm. We all lead very shallow breathing lives. You know, we just don't. Yeah. But if you actually breathe to your stomach and then to your chest and then you let it out, it's good for you.
Yeah.
You're filling your body with oxygen and you're emptying out all of that carbon dioxide. Instead of just doing shallow breaths, it's not healthy. I mean, most yogis will tell you that.
Yeah, with that being said, Mike, are you big on meditations?
I'm not as good as focused as I would like to be. Mm. And the reality is, you know, I lead a very stressful life. I've got a son that lives with his mother in Barcelona, Spain, and she's doing a wonderful job raising my son, and I miss him terribly. And I go there 6 times a year, and in order to be able to afford to support him and travel there to see him, it's a proper sadness in my life. And then I've got a team of 20 people that I'm trying to coach and mentor. It's stressful.
Yeah.
In a industry that's ups and downs.
Yeah.
And there's loads of external pressures and internal pressures and different characters and personalities of the people we work with.
Managing people.
And my darling wife just gave birth to a little baby girl.
Congrats.
She's 6 weeks old now. And if anybody's had a newborn or had a baby, you know what that's like, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
So I say all of that to say, if I were to meditate more, it would bring me so much more calm, balance. But it goes back to the number one priority is looking after yourself, health.
Yeah.
Focus on your health. And that is not just lifting weights and getting strong and looking good. That's breathing better. That's calming the mind. That's sleeping well.
Yeah.
That's drinking lots of water and hydrating.
Yes, sir.
Being calm so that you can perform when you need to.
Yeah, physically, mentally, emotionally. You know, you got to be able to get it under control. I also notice in my life, like before I was somebody that did not meditate. Like I never thought I'd be able to do it.
You do now?
Now I do. Yeah, now I do. Maybe for the past 2.5 years. Again, since being part of the project, breathing was such a big thing that we got to learn in it. And especially like you spoke about earlier, us being buried, right? Us being in ice baths, us being underground. You have to know how to breathe. Right. My mentor, Steve Eckert, he is like 100 miles an hour. And he said to me, Banks, if I can meditate, you can meditate. Right. We learned all the breathing techniques and everything, some of the breathing techniques that they use in the SEAL teams and everything like that. And for me, what I've noticed since I started meditating, it allows me to get up in the morning out of 2 out of 10 compared to just getting up, rolling right into it. 9 out of 10. So now when I'm dealing with people, I'm a lot calmer because I started at 2 out of 10 compared to getting up, jumping right to emails, jumping right to work, jumping right to this. I'm able to bring myself down. I'm able to be calm. I'm able to be able to relax. And I'm 2 out of 10. Now I enter work, I'm in a calm state.
My issue and one of my challenges is being consistent.
Consistency.
Because it's really nice to come up with these wonderful, you know what? You've inspired me. I'm going to meditate. That's it. I'm going to meditate and I'm going to put it in my calendar. 6:30 a.m. whenever it is I wake up, I'm gonna meditate just for 15 minutes. I'm gonna meditate.
That's it.
That's great, but if I don't do that consistently for 2.5 years, I'm not going to benefit from it, and it's just going to be a passing fad.
Yeah.
So I think the point I'm trying to make here is that consistency is undefeated.
Consistency, commitment, and focus to the task. Right. And I can say that I have not hit that 2 years straight. Right. Up and down here and there. But I notice whenever I am not consistent with it, I feel the difference. I notice the difference. So that's why for me, it's such an important daily discipline that I do, right? I get up in the morning. That's what I get to. I go to my meditations. I go to my journaling. I go to my reading. And then from there, I'm going to my 10X task.
I write down three things that I'm grateful for every day.
Every day.
That's a consistent thing that I do. So my phone, gratitude, 15 minutes. I just sit there and I think, what am I grateful for? Because if we don't recognize and sit back and recognize just how, on any level, I still have my parents with me, or I live in the beautiful Cayman Islands, or we don't pay tax, or my team members are killing it, or I don't know, I did a great back squat yesterday. Whatever it may, show some sort of gratitude.
I'm going to throw a drill at you for humility, and this is what gives me humility, speaking about gratitude and what you're grateful for. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I send out 5 gratitude texts to people. You might get one from me Friday. Hey Mike, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate you. I'm grateful that you were here. Thank you for XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. So what that does is that makes me a happier person.
And I forward it on and pay it forward.
Exactly. And that gives me a level of humility also. It allows me to bring myself down when I'm shooting those gratitude messages to 5 random people. And sometimes, it'll be like, hey, just want, I appreciate you. Can I be of service? Because
that's beautiful.
You get a lot of times you get people call you when they just want something. What I tell people all the time, shoot a gratitude text.
Well, that's a great reminder.
And ask people, hey, can I be of service to you? I appreciate you.
How are you doing? What can I do to help you?
Exactly.
I got a phone call 10 years ago from a friend, and she said, hey, you were just on my mind. And I have a New Year's resolution that if I ever think of somebody, for whatever reason, I'm going to call them up. Right then and then, just call them up.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's really sweet of you. I'm good. And we just had a quick chat and that was it. But it stuck with me. And every now and then I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, that was just such a sweet thing. It was lovely to receive that phone call.
Yeah.
She felt better because she reached out and made the effort to connect with a long friend we hadn't seen in a long time. And are we good for time? So every now and then I'll call somebody up.
Yeah.
And reach out and say, hey man, you just crossed my mind. And I tell them the same story. A friend once said this to me, that they would, they have a habit of calling people if they cross their mind. That's nice.
Perfect. Yeah.
Good for the community and people and communication and friendships.
Makes that person happy, makes you happy. It creates that level of humility, shows that gratitude, shows that appreciation. It creates that conversation again. It's such an amazing thing. Mike, I do want to jump in with the listeners here and the followers here. I want them to know if there is any book that you would recommend.
One I'm reading at the moment is No Excuses. Actually, it has Navy SEALs. It's written by a Navy SEAL. I can't remember. It's No Excuses. There's another one, Never Complain. stop complaining. Honestly, I'm useless. I should really know. You should have prepped me, man. I should have come.
I want to
come
hear
with the names on top of my
head.
But I think it's important, you know, and reading, physical reading, actual reading.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I fall asleep too quickly. So I do audiobooks. Every time I go on long walks or runs, I'm listening to these audiobooks, and that's how I'm retaining a lot of the information.
Yeah, I'm actually the opposite. If I listen to audio, I get too distracted. I gotta read hard books.
Filter. You recognize it.
If I do audiobook, I will read, visually see it, and listen to the audiobook at the same time. Yeah. If I ever do audiobooks, that's that direction for me.
My problem is, man, a page a day was all I would get through because I just...
Out cold.
Out cold. And
if I could recommend a book back, I would recommend Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill's incredible.
Oh, man. One of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah. Think and Grow Rich was my first one I've read by him, but Outgrow the Devil?
Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil.
Amazing book by Napoleon Hill.
And I'm going to look up the name of the author of these other ones. I'll message you.
Yeah, and just let me know what, and I'll go and grab them and I'll read them. And my one last thing, where can everybody find you on social media?
Property Cayman, propertycayman.com. My name is Mike Joseph, so you can find me on Instagram, but I've got a team. It's not about me, it's about the team. Just got a team of incredible people. And I'm not just saying that. I have very strict recruiting strategies and criteria. So the people that come and work on our team are incredible people. They're really, really good. Property Cayman. You'll find us.
There you go, guys. Yeah, Mike, it was a pleasure having you.
You weren't expecting to be so chatty, right? We went on for a long time.
Hey, we could take this on for 2 hours, but yeah, we know you guys just 1 hour.
Kenny, you're incredible. Your followers, they're going to do well by following. This man you're doing incredible things. I've said that to you in the past as well.
Yes, sir.
Great. Yes. Inspirational, aspirational. Thank you,
my brother. Much appreciated. Much love.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, bro.
All right, man. Absolutely.
Peace and love, guys. You have a good one.
Take care.